Wait, she's gonna tell a story. We want this.
No, I was just saying that my dogs are never lovey until we start the fucking podcast, and
I know she was just nuzzling in. That's so cute.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, welcome back, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Happy December.
Woohoo.
Last month of the year.
Crazy.
I hope you guys are doing well, recovering from Thanksgiving, getting ready for the holidays, enjoying your final acts in your Be Bold challenge if you guys joined us. Because that's what we're talking about today, our Be Bold challenge. We wrapped it up. But I just wanted to talk a little bit about why we created this. So if you guys don't know, it's a bingo card. It's on our Instagram. And I think Erica and I, at the beginning of like the fall season, were just kind of feeling like we would come home after every party, every going out activity, and just be kind of frustrated with how the night went as far as like meeting people. And then, no. No. Not right now, honey. Nope. Anyway, at the beginning of the fall season, Erica and I were just kind of talking about how we wanted to go on dates and meet more people. Fuck me dead. Jesus Christ. Honey. I don't want to do this to you. Let me just re-say the same story again.
It's the fall season.
Okay, it's the fall season. Okay, anyway, Erica and I have just been talking a lot lately about how it really stemmed from the dating apps. Mm-hmm. We were trying on dating apps, so I feel like you were trying. I refused to try just because it wasn't producing the outcomes that I had envisioned in my mind of what I wanted a date to look like, what I wanted to like meet a person like, and just like the setting that it was supposed to go, the first date. Like I just wanted to have this connection with someone and get to know them. And I feel like the dating apps took away that like personable, like you were just like judging on pictures. I just didn't really like it. And then you were just having a grand old time.
Well, I also feel like I can know if I'm like vibing with someone in talking to them for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And I think the thing about dating apps is like you match with them, then you like are kind of talking, then you're wanting to plan a date, and it's like all of this effort goes in and it's your time, and then you go and then you're like, I could have known in 10 minutes that we weren't compatible, this wasn't good.
Yeah.
But it's hard to tell. So I feel like the in-person thing is kind of what we were pushing for, because it's like, why are we relying, like we're living in San Diego where you can meet people so easily.
Yeah.
Everyone's out all the time. Like the weather's beautiful, so people are out, and instead we're on the apps trying to match with someone.
And having these like weird over the phone texting conversations back and forth and being judged by that or then judging them by that. And I think for me, I really knew I was like romanticizing it in my mind of like, I want to meet someone in person. Mm-hmm. I think I just needed this like, I wanted what we produced. I needed specific like activities and like a prompt for me to do in order to like go out there and feel like okay to do that. So that's kind of like what started us wanting to do these like different activities. And honestly, it's like activities that you don't even think about anyways that are good. It was just nice to see them written down to be like, okay, it's like a game. It literally is a game for you to check off something and just put yourself out there without this expectation of every time I need to meet someone.
Yeah. And putting yourself in situations where it's like, even if you're not trying to like find someone to date, you're doing activities and things where you're being social and pushing your boundaries of like your own comfortability in social settings.
Yeah.
Because I think that's the biggest thing is like when you're so nervous or anxious in social settings in general, and then trying to be like, hey, do you want to chat? Like that adds another layer. So I feel like the intention was also like, hey, put yourself out there, not just for dating, just to like try these things that you've been thinking about doing.
Yeah, which, I mean, we can talk a little bit more about that, but I think that is what I needed, which is nice. But I think overall, I had fun. I honestly, even though we had, you know, at the beginning of the month, we had said that we were going to do this for the month because we wanted to give ourselves time to put ourselves out there and then also talk about it to kind of share it with you guys. But for me, it's just even every activity that I say activity or challenge, but like square that I didn't get to, it's almost like I've taken this like person that I've become or the things that I've learned, and now I'm like, I'm going to push myself to continue to do all of these.
Yeah, I was going to say, I feel like I still want to like have this.
Yeah.
Like blackout.
Yeah, blackout.
We actually did go to Real Bingo the other day.
Yeah, and I won
Ellie
Legos.
was really good at it.
You ripped off the card, but I did fantastic.
Yeah, she won the first round.
And I was at a point where, and I'm sure everybody's like, this is how bingo is, but like before the guy would call the number, I'd be like, I-30, and then he'd say I-30, and I'd be like, see? And then I'd do the next one, and it would come up. Also, didn't know how to play bingo before.
She was like, I don't need the letters, right? I'm like, yeah, dude.
I thought it was just spelled I don't fucking know what I thought. But I was like, wait, yeah, if I just have 30, it's just, and you're like, no, you need
I-30. Yeah. It's okay.
Whatever.
She did
now
good.
I know. But yeah, well, let's dive in. Do you want to go first? Let's look at some activities or the challenges that we've done and some of the interesting things that have come up from it.
Yeah. Well, we'll start with the wholesome one. I think this is the one we both did first, separately, but the going to a coffee shop without distractions.
Yeah.
I'm glad that was the first one I did because I feel like it made me realize, okay, first of all, there's so many coffee shops here. So it was like fun to pick one that I had never been to before. And then leaving my phone in my car and literally just going and sitting
was a challenge
in and of itself. Yeah. And it made me realize like how often I could have interactions with people in this like 10-minute exchange of placing my order, waiting in line, placing my order, waiting for my drink, that I'm usually on my phone.
Oh, yeah. Like
the moment I'm like not being helped or whatever, I'm just on my phone. And so it was very like self-reflective. Wow. Introspective was what I was going to say.
I liked both of those. You combine them.
Self-respective for me of like, I cop out so easily on social interactions sometimes because of this technology that I have, which is annoying. And also, like, why do I need my phone? When I go to coffee shops, I'm usually like editing the podcast or reading, or I would go there for work sometimes, but it was really nice to just sit there and like actually enjoy my coffee.
Yeah.
Like be present, sipping it, looking around, watch people watching.
Yeah.
Like smiling at people, saying hello, goodbye, like things that I don't know that I do all the time.
Yeah. That day that I did mine, I was already kind of feeling very off. I think I just like woke up in a mood, and I woke up with a lot of anxiety for a lot of different reasons. But also what I think I realized on this day and like waking up and wanting to do this like challenge, the easier one, is my fear of rejection is like so suffocating sometimes that when I had like planned out what my week was going to look like, and I was like, yeah, I'm just going to go to a coffee. I had other things in mind, but this was one of the things that I wanted to do that day. Mm-hmm. It just like, because of my anxiety already running high, and you know how my mind fucking digs itself a fucking hole so deep, can't even see the light. Like, I just started thinking of like all of these activities and how like what possible interactions may happen, and already thinking of the worst of like the worst thing that can happen is like so and so rejects, like just going spiraling, absolutely spiraling, that I was like, wow, the rejection is so scary and it stops so many people from even trying. Like I was even in that moment of like doing the easiest one, which is just going to a coffee shop without distraction, I was already trying to talk myself out of. But I think,
what do you mean, like rejected of placing your order?
No, like of rejection, because I think for me this was the start of putting myself out there in social situations to like talk to people. I think the reason why I hadn't done it in the past as much as I've been putting myself out there this month was because I don't want to be rejected. I don't want to be put in a position, even if it's like, honestly, a huge spiral. It makes absolutely no sense. I went from A to Z and like so quick. I was more thinking of just like, what about if I hit it off with someone, like that kind of not placing my order.
I was just trying to picture where in this challenge there was a rejection, but I get what you're saying.
Oh yeah, no, the path to get there is crazy. I fully understand that. So I think like that was just kind of, I don't know, I was just something that I thought of that day. But I think doing this without my phone was a big, I don't want to put like a time limit on it, but I did tell myself like, okay, I want you to be at the coffee shop for at least an hour. Like once you have your drink, you're settled in, from like, that's the start time to the finish time of you not having your phone and just sitting and enjoying this. Like I wanted to kind of push myself. And honestly, I had a really hard time not having my phone, just because like I do, like you said, excuse myself out of like social, I'm just like, but I also am like, it's the easiest, like I reach for it when I'm uncomfortable or it's I feel like
habitual.
Yeah. Or I also found myself like when I make eye contact with people, and like I have to go on my phone to like make it less awkward, and I'm like, why do I do this?
Yeah.
Like why do people do this? This is so weird.
I don't know. It's just like crutch. You're definitely not the only one, because I do the same thing of like, oh, that was awkward. Huh? I don't know, but it's not even awkward.
Yeah.
Because it's like in this setting, again, when you're like, you make eye contact, then you smile, then then they smile, and then you carry on with your day.
Instead of just like totally fumbling and like they smile at me and I'm automatically like phone fuck. And I'm like, what? And it wasn't until, I will have to say, and this is kind of something that I've embodied as the month continued on, but in that moment I was trying to picture like when I was kind of like envisioning like a lady in Italy or like France or something, but like when I am looking at a coffee shop, like my fantasy is kind of being that like woman that's just like sitting there enjoying her coffee, like just looking at the horizon, looking at the colors and the outsideness, and just enjoying life. And so I almost kind of embodied that person that I wanted to be, and like I may have looked weird, but it didn't even cross my mind, because like I had my sunnies on, I was just chilling, drinking my coffee outside. I was then sitting like at the bar and like talking to the person that was like making my coffee at the time. Like I just tried to be someone else for a second and not be this like, because sometimes in that, when I felt like I've been very shy. So I was like, I want to not be that Ellie right now. I kind of want to be someone else, which I was still myself, but it was just like, I want to embody this like confidence. And so I think that really, it wasn't until that I got back to my car and realized I had spent like 2 hours there just like chilling, that I was like, wow, I actually like, this completely turned my day around from like anxiety to dealing with all this fucking bullshit in my life. Did I just spend 2 hours without my phone, smiling at people, pretending to be this confident person? Did I walk away feeling way confident, way prettier, because I was like, wow, I just did that, and like, I don't know, talk to people, that's a win. That I felt like, okay, like I like this feeling. This was fun.
Yeah, I agree. I want to do that more than just one time.
Yeah.
And I also feel like it made me aware, like when we went to the farmer's market or something, of just like leaving my phone like in my pocket, even though I had it with me, of like, I don't need to be on this right now.
Yeah. It sounds silly because it was like, it's literally just go to a coffee shop without any distractions. But I think because it was my first one that I did while already feeling like anxious, but also wanting someone, it was like right after this conversation, right after we decided to do this bingo challenge, that we decided to do this one as our first one, that I think it meant so much to me, and I learned so much, even with it being so small, because I was like, oh, this is just like a stepping stone. Like this is the start of the things that I want to do.
Yeah. There's a lot on here, and we're not going to speak to every single one, but I did just want to call out, like, being conscious of smiling at strangers. I think I did those ones hand in hand in the same day. And it's like, because I didn't have my phone, I was like aware of my face and smiling at people, and I feel like a lot of people smiled back. It was a good feeling. So would try doing that. I think that sometimes we're not aware of how our face looks.
No, I think that's, yeah. It's definitely something that I need to think about more, because I have a really bad resting bitch face. And I think it goes with all of the challenges, or any time that you put your like self out there, even leave your house, is like, just kind of be aware of it. Sometimes I'm like, I can't talk to people, but I'm like, just smile. It's fine.
The other one I wanted to call out was a running club. because we did this one together and with our other friend. And I've done running clubs before, but I hadn't been to this one. And I was really stoked that you decided to try it, because I know we have a clip of Ellie saying, that's not for me.
This one was. I actually really enjoyed myself.
I thought it was good, and it was like, I think sometimes, I don't know if it's like how we grew up in competitive swimming or just like our own mentalities of things. It's like, it's a good reminder to me. It's the older I get, the more mature I get, I guess. I'm like, I can enjoy physical activity without having to like kill myself or like PR or be the, like it was just nice. We all like ran and were chatting, and I wasn't like even aware of how far we had run. Like we were almost to the end, and I was like, whoa, we just did 3 miles. Yeah. Like that was so easy and fun. And there was a lot of beautiful, very fit people, but I felt like it wasn't like a insecurity thing. It was just like, cool, we're in this group with all these people that like want to go running at 6 a.m. on a Friday.
I just appreciated the people that like the community of it, and that like everybody said hello, even though like I associate working out with like it's an individual thing. I don't want people around me when I do it, so I think it kind of made it more fun that it was like a group effort. And then 2, just like everybody was so nice. Like everybody there was fucking gorgeous out of their mind. It was insane. But I also think sometimes like in my mind when I picture that, or if someone were telling me that, I'm like, oh yeah, they were all fucking assholes too, weren't they? And it was like, no, everybody was so kind, so nice. It was so easy to spark a conversation with anybody or everybody that you ran into or were running next to. Like we were having a conversation with our friend, and one of the people running in front of us was like, oh, like my friends are up there, can I like run with you guys for a bit, or like trying to like jump in our conversation in a good way. Like it was so nice to like have that community. And I'm like, if this is something that is interesting to you, like it's the more and more you do it, the more and more like the better at it you get, if that makes sense. So
I think it's like, it's people that go to those things are, I feel like, nice people, because why would they go to a community run club if they didn't want to be in a community?
Yes. Yeah.
So I feel like if you're intimidated of trying something like that out, know that like these are all people that are looking for this commonality in whatever activity that you're doing, and they're not trying to like, it's not a race.
Yeah.
It's not, you didn't sign up for an event. You guys are just going on a run together. And if they wanted to run, in my mind, I'm like, if you wanted to run as fast as you could for a 5K, you would go do that by yourself.
Yeah.
This is just because you want to get out there and connect with people.
Such an easy thing. Because for me, it's like, I don't really, and I think for some people listening, maybe they're like, oh, well, these are like easy things. I do these things already. But for me, I don't do these things. Like, I don't really put myself out there or go out or go really out of my way to go talk to people. I just kind of like being in the comfort of my own home. So one, I liked this because it pushed myself to do things that I know I would enjoy, but I don't typically do on a daily basis. And then also a reminder to myself of like, if you do these things on a daily or weekly, monthly basis, like if you had this one interaction this one time, like again, if you do it consistently, you'll get a bigger group of friends. You might meet someone. Like it's just more
the
like,
repetition.
The repetition of it kind of gives you an opportunity to meet more people, which is like obviously duh, but whatever. Just
obviously duh.
I wanted to we kind of did these on the same day, but we did a weekday happy hour, which is super easy to come by in this area. But we wanted to do one, I really challenged myself to try to do most of these activities in this neighborhood, just to familiarize myself with like the space that I live, and also why am I going to do these somewhere else if I don't live there? Like it just makes more sense for me to do it in this part of town. So we went to a happy hour at this restaurant. Happy hour? That was weird. Happy hour. I don't know why I did that.
Wait, that's like reminding me of something. I'm not gonna. Anyway, carry on. It doesn't matter.
Remember it in like 5 minutes and just like scream it out. At a restaurant near us, and I enjoyed myself. Nothing really came of it at that moment, but it was just a reminder of like, one, I love happy hours. They're so fun. They're so like easy. And two, it's like it was nice to see like everybody's out after work and enjoying their life. And for me in that moment, it was just a reminder that like you can still have a job and still be a part of things and not let it consume your life. I think in my previous job that I had, I felt so consumed by work, but by the time I got home and made dinner and took the dogs out, even though it was like only 6-7 o'clock, I was like, nope, my life is done, the day is done. I can't interact with any more people. I'm too burnt out, I'm too tired, this is it. And like I think I just got into this habit of like work is the only thing I'm allowed to do during the weekdays, and when it comes to like weekends is when I can go all out, which then on the weekends I would go way too all out that I would not enjoy myself. I wouldn't meet people because I'd be unconscious and
oh my gosh, not actually though.
No, not actually. But it just was like a really bad habit. So I think even though I didn't have a job when we did this happy hour, it was a nice reminder of like, again, that repetition. I can continue to do this, and if I have these habits now, when the job piece comes, I can still continue to do these things and have fun even while working. Again, duh, but still, it's like a nice reminder.
No, and I feel like it's also, sometimes I feel like when people go out, you think that this is like this whole commitment thing. It was like we went to happy hour and we could have gone home after, and it would have been like an hour of our lives, but we had like social interaction, and I feel like we were just feeling like everyone's out.
Yeah.
I know not all people get energy from other people, but I will say I think when people are out and having a good time, you feed off of that, and you're like, I want to be out too, and hang out and have a good time.
Yeah. And then afterwards we went to the farmer's market near the town, and I think this was one of the biggest lessons I learned from this challenge is, and something that I'm trying to remember, is when you have a feeling and you want to do something, that first instinct, just do it. Lean into it. Put yourself out there. Most of the time for me, it's like this feeling that I get, and I think everybody can kind of have, like, knows what their gut feeling is. It's like sometimes you're kind of like pulled in half and you're not sure what you want to do, but there are other moments where like, I really want to do this thing, even though it makes no sense. And even though 2 seconds ago I was completely like so not confident and not wanting to do anything and did not believe in myself, all of a sudden I feel like I'm the hottest person here. I'm gonna go do it. Like, if and when you have those feelings, act on it immediately, because
then your brain talks yourself out of it.
You talk yourself out of it, and two, like, you miss opportunities, like, you really do. And the reason why I say this is because we were at the farmer's market, and Erica and I had just gotten food, and we were hanging out, just eating our pizza, and we were kind of standing by like the food section, and this guy with this cute dog named Nacho, Nacho's dad, if you're listening, anyway, was like, this dog was so cute. So of course, me, love dogs, I was like, oh my gosh, playing with the dog, rubbing the dog, whatever, petting the dog. Fuck me. And I'm getting like red just talking about it. I like literally look up and see this cute ass guy, so freaking cute. And I was just like, oh my gosh, your dog is so cute. What's his name? His name is Nacho. Like, we're kind of just like talking, whatever. I sit down to finish my food, and Erica and I are like giving each other the look. We're just like trying to talk. And earlier that day we had a conversation of being like, how to be a good wing woman. And she's like, how do I be a good wing woman? What do I do? I'm like, I don't know. And so finally we finish our pizza, and we're heading out, and I like turn around and I like say goodbye to Nacho, and I like say goodbye to Nacho's dad, and we're walking away, and I'm like, fuck, I should have said something. I should have like stayed and had a conversation, or just like asked for his number, been bold, hey, what was your name? Like, just tried a little bit more. And we kept walking away, and we ended up going to a bar near there, getting a drink. And literally as we're sitting at the bar, I'm like, I should have done something. Like, kept just like fucking saying it. And like 5 minutes go by, and I'm like, I'm just gonna go see if he's there. So I literally left the bar to go see if he was there, to just like go talk to him, just like ask what his name was, have an actual conversation with a human, not the fucking dog. And by the time I got there, he was gone. So it was like, I did not try. I mean, I did, and I'm happy that like I don't know what the right thing is, but it was just like in that moment I was like, fuck, if I just leaned into it for whatever reason and just put myself out there a little bit more and just started a conversation and leaned into that like feeling, my mouth and my head would have caught up and I would have been myself. It was just like I don't know why I totally stopped myself.
And now it's something that you're still thinking about.
And now it's something that I'm still fucking thinking about.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why I really try and tell myself, I'm like, and not that I'm great at this, but it's like, either I say do it for the plot because it'll be a good story, or like I don't want to be thinking about it, which I think we talked about this with the surfing situation.
Yeah, the surf guy.
Which I'm still thinking about because it's in my brain. Because I'm like, if you would have said something and he's like, oh, I have a girlfriend, or like, I don't even know what he would have said.
It would have been done.
Then
and
it's
I
like, okay,
moved on, and I wouldn't be thinking about it.
Yeah, yeah. But here we are.
But I think that was like, I took that and I literally was like, like when I romanticize my life and I think about how I want to meet someone, these are the situations where I'm like, this is how I want to meet you. This is what I think is cute. This is how I get to know someone. And I knew nothing about him. It would have been a perfect opportunity to either start a conversation to get to know him more or just lead to a possible like date or anything, just literally anything. And I think in that moment I was like, okay, I have to do it. Like if I have this feeling, and most of the time you can tell, like I knew, I was like, I should do it. And I just didn't. I'm like, fuck. And it was a month ago. It's like the beginning of the month and I still think about it.
We did go back. He wasn't there.
No.
We went like another week and he wasn't there.
No. But I'll be going next week.
But now we there every Thursday until Nacho returns.
Seriously.
But speaking of a time when we were bold and it did work out for us. Well, kind of.
Yeah, seriously. Sort of.
We mentioned this last episode, had a very eventful day before Thanksgiving, unintentionally. It really just snowballed. And I feel like, we were just in a mood. I was like, Ellie, do you want to go like to the Rose, which is a winery over here? Well, actually, we were going to try a different spot, but it was full. Anyway, split a bottle of wine. There wasn't that many people out, but we were just kind of like, I don't want to go back. We had friends in another part of town that were going out, but we didn't want to get an Uber, so we called our other friend. Ended up going to this bar that we never been to before. It was really fun. I want to go back there again.
Yeah.
And mixed a lot of different alcohol.
Don't recommend. Again, the night started with just like
the purest of intentions.
Yeah, it was like, listen, we've been having such a hard day. Let's just have a roomy night and go split a bottle of wine and some apps and just be sad and then come home. That's how it started. And then the best part was that was how we wanted the night to kind of start. The way we wanted to end was we had some cooking that we needed to do for fucking Thanksgiving. Yeah. Erica was going to make dough, make fucking bread, and I was going to peel potatoes. That's how we wanted to end the night. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So we're at this other bar.
so then...
And there really wasn't that many people, but we were having fun. It was like us and our friend and his girlfriend, and just hanging out, dancing. And then I saw this guy. He kept like looking at me, and I was like,
I know, the look.
Yeah. I'm like, you keep looking at me, but there's a girl right next to you, so I don't know
what your deal is.
What's happening? Like, is there something wrong with my face, or are you interested? So then when we're on the dance floor, I don't know who said it. One of us was like, if you go talk to that guy, I'll go talk to this guy. And so I went over there, and the girl wasn't there anymore. And I was like, the first thing I said, I like grab his arm and I'm like, do you have a girlfriend? And he was very caught off guard. He's like, what? I was like, do you have a girlfriend? Because there was a girl there. And he was like, well, we were on a date, but she left. And I was like, oh, well, was it a good date? And he was like, well, obviously she's gone. She I was like, oh, so then can I give you my number? And I gave him my number, and I was like, look at me go, feeling it. Go back over to our friends. We're dancing. He's texting. He's like, can I get you a drink? And I'm like, yeah. But then he's like, why don't you come with me so we can get the drink?
that where you went to go get a drink? Oh.
I was texting him and he was like, no, come with me to get the drink. So then I went over and then we were just talking in the corner. And I feel like I was pretty drunk at this point. And look, this hindsight 2020. So at the time I was like, whatever. But he was like, yeah, I have like a house here and in Colorado. But now knowing, I'm like, no, your family lives here and you rent an apartment in Colorado. You don't have two houses.
Yeah, that would be like if we went back home to our parents' large ass houses in Minden and was like, yeah, I have a house in Lake Tahoe and in San Diego. No, I fucking don't. I barely have a house here. Shut up.
But I didn't think, like, I was like, oh my God, whoa. At the time, really just feeding into it. Do you want to tell your side and then we'll catch up to where
combine.
Yeah.
Yes. So we were like, the night caught up. Like, we had this bottle of wine and then met up with our friends and we're already having lots of drinks, and all of a sudden it was like pretty like 10:30 and we're like, wow, okay, I guess we're here. I honestly, it all seems like it happened within an hour, which it clearly didn't. And like, you were making googly eyes at that guy, I kept looking at this other guy, and I remember like, which I don't know why, again, I had learned from before, like, if I have this gut feeling, just go after it.
Yeah.
Starting to feel like this gut feeling was the alcohol, not really like myself, but whatever. So I had turned to you and I was like, okay, I can see that you're looking at this guy. I'm looking at this guy. If you go talk to that guy, I'll go talk to this guy. Part of me was like, if I put it on Erica, then it's a little easier and then it won't be like my fault. And of course, I should have known. Erica was like, literally skipped away. Just like, okay. It just goes, and I was like, literally on the dance floor, like, fuck. And so I was like, but also, again, knowing that like feeling, which again probably was alcohol, as it was fire in my stomach. And I just went up to this guy. I didn't fucking have my phone on me. So I went up to him and my first instinct was like, hey, do you want to dance? Because I like dancing. I appreciate like, I don't know, kind of, it breaks the barrier of like having a talk. Also, it is so loud. We're like on the dance floor. I'm not about to try to like learn everything about you and have our first date here screaming at you with the music blaring at us. And so I go up to him and he literally says no. He was like, no, like I'm not like a dancer. And again, very proud of myself because I was just like, oh, okay, well, like I just saw you over there. I thought you were really attractive. Like I didn't say attractive. That's weird. I probably said I thought you were really hot. And I wanted to grab your number, but I also realized walking over here, I left my phone with my friend. So I was wondering if I could give you my number. And so I give him my number and I walk away because I'm like, I am here with my friends and I'm having a great time. Like, I'm not going to try. That was me trying. Like, to ask you to dance was me trying. And I don't know exactly what happened, but I know like his group of like him and his friends left. And then that's when you were gone. And I was like, well, I don't know where Eric went, so I'm just going to stay here. And then finally, like our friend and I were trying to look for you, like off to the side. And the guy that I was talking to comes back with his drink and he goes like, oh, there you are. Like, I was going to get you a drink, but I didn't know what you wanted. And I was kind of caught off guard because I was like, I didn't think you were interested. I thought you were just like, oh my God, this crazy girl just ran up to me. And so we were like talking, all of these things, like kind of getting to know each other, but obviously like we were both like kind of interested, learning, you know, those fucking bar, you know, those conversations. And that's when you and I had like met up for the evening. And I think I was like, okay, I'm going to go this way. And you're like, well, I'm going to go this way. And I was like, all right, well, I'll see you later. And I went home with him and had a grand old time, and then woke up at like 4:30 in the morning with like a massive headache and was like, I have to go home and cook for fucking Thanksgiving. What the fuck am I gonna do? So I like I feel bad, but I like got an Uber and left his house. Like,
no, I think that's the best.
Okay, great. Well, that's what I did, and came home and then heard your evening and realized I love Blackout Wednesday.
Well, I don't know if I do, but we left and we get in the Uber and I was like, I'm going to be sick. And so we had to pull the Uber over. I'm like pacing. And I don't like, I don't get sick.
No, you never get sick.
I never throw up. I feel like because I also don't mix all these drinks.
Yeah.
I don't do this. This is not typical. So I'm like, wow. And then we finally get to our apartment and I just fall out of the Uber, hands and knees, vomiting on the ground outside of our apartment. And I was mortified. But this gentleman walks me to the apartment. And like, you would think they would leave. Like, you've done your due diligence.
Yeah.
You've made sure I'm alive and home and you can go. But he was like bringing me water. He was checking in on me. He kept coming in and being like, can I get you anything? Anyway, we don't need to go into details, but like, just basically took care of me. So we had very different experiences. And then he was like, I'm going to go. And I was like, why? Like annoying. And he was like, it's my birthday.
The fact that it was his birthday fucking cracks me up.
I know. I'm like, wow, what a horrible way to ring in your 30th year of life. But thank you. And he called me when he got back to his Airbnb or wherever. I don't know. I don't really believe things that he says. And he called me and I was dead asleep. And then he was like, I'm back. Have a good night. Don't throw up. And I texted him in the morning and I was like, thanks for taking care of me. Happy birthday. But then I proceeded to vomit all day and it was horrible and very interesting. I think the moral of the story is go after the things that you want. Don't drink lots of different drinks.
Yeah.
But I was talking to our friend about this and she was like, you have this in you. I feel like people think that you need alcohol or you need some substance in order to be able to do certain things. It's more of like what they call liquid courage, but literally you have that in you.
Yeah.
You don't
You
need...
are that person. You don't become, like, your scales don't fucking change. You become a different fucking person.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's just a good reminder to me because then when we went out this past weekend, like, I was like, I cannot be drunk. I do not want to. I'm still terrified. But we had a great night.
Yeah.
And I feel like it was like, oh, yeah. I'm still a fun person. I still like to dance and can do these things and talk. Like, I was talking to random people a little bit on the dance floor and, like, it's fine.
Yeah.
I don't need to be drunk for that.
Yeah. I think for me, it was like, what this kind of taught me was I still believe, like, when I have that gut feeling, go after it. I'm still trying to figure out, like, when we had went out a few nights ago, I didn't have that feeling. I didn't feel like I needed to go up and talk to someone. And so I embraced that. Never in the whole night, and we still had like our like usual late night, did I feel this feeling in my gut of like, go up and talk to this person, make this conversation, put yourself out there, and still had a good night without getting like sloshed and without it taking away from the night. Because I think kind of like what I've said before is in the past, I would leave really great, fun situations and, you know, when we're out and about and feel so hard on myself and bad about the night because it didn't end with a guy. Mm-hmm. And so I think, you know, I think about the Wednesday, blackout fucking Wednesday, and it was like I had this gut feeling, I went after it, and I still had a great night, and I am not really thinking much about it. I feel like, you know, sometimes I feel like that anxiety, like when I do get a guy, I'm like that anxiety, or when I don't, that anxiety. I feel like it was a happy medium. But what I have also learned is like, I need to figure out what it is I want. Because I think sometimes it changes. And I think it's hard because, like, I don't know, like, it's not that I regret that night at all. Mm-hmm. And I think it was what I needed for, like, the sake of...
Bingo. Sorry.
No. Like, just for the sake of, like, going out.
Yeah.
But I also think I don't always want it to end in sex. Like, I don't always want that to be. So how, like, now I'm trying to navigate, like, putting myself out there without this, like, expectation on myself that I have to do it like that. And that's, like, another conversation we could say for another day. But I think sometimes that is how I feel. And that's, like, all in my head. Because sometimes I don't feel that way. And sometimes I do. And I don't want that to get in the way of me being bold and putting myself out there, even if it's in a situation that most commonly ends in like going home with someone, like going out to a bar. Do you see my train of thought a little bit?
I think so. Yeah, I feel like this was part of why we picked things that aren't all like go to the bar, go to the club, go to the, like, it's like try the farmer's market, go to a coffee shop, because these are settings where people aren't just like plastered, and you can have a conversation and see someone's genuine state and if you vibe with them or not. And whether or not you end up texting or even doing anything after that, I feel like it's just more of that practice.
Yeah.
But if you want to take the easy way out, I did leave my number on multiple receipts and never received a text. But I'm telling myself, like, the first time I did it, I had to actually ask him to go print a receipt, because people just have their little thing
tablets
now. And it's hard to, like, be cute and, like, leave your number. So I don't even know if he got it, because if the busser, like, just wiped the table and whatever. And then another time, like, I was thinking about this. I saw him in the kitchen. Don't even know if he saw me. And if some random person left their number on a receipt and I didn't even know what they looked like, I don't know if I would be inclined to, like, text them.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Which, that brings me to one of our things that we had on our bingo, and it's something that I didn't do, but I really want to, but I'm just struggling with the concept of it, because I think the idea is cute. And one of those is like leave your number at a record store. And I think for me, you know, you had mentioned wanting to write like a cute, I don't know if you said poem, but you were like, just something, poem. I'm just like something that's not just like, hey, this is my name, text me. Like, that's just so lame. Like, how can we quickly put together who we are that would make it interesting for someone to pick up? And then, of course, the way my mind works, I have to think of all the reasons why it would never work out in my favor. And one of that is, like, it is difficult to be bold and also hope that the person on the receiving end is being bold as well, especially if they don't know what you look like. It's just like the other
There's a lot of unknowns in that situation.
Yeah, there's a lot of unknowns.
Yeah.
But it's also like, I think that's where what you always say is like, do it for the plot. That's where that comes in. And sometimes, like, if you're not wanting to do dating apps like me, you got, wow, okay.
you gotta do it.
Having a stroke. If you don't want to do dating apps like me, you have to put yourself out there and do it for the plot in order for things to come up. And a lot of the times it's like, you're not gonna fucking strike your first time up to bat. Like, you're gonna have to do this.
Baseball and
baseball. Sports.
That's not what I was...
I really hope I got that right. Is that right?
A strike?
It sounded like I knew.
A strike is like bowling. A strikeout is like in baseball, like you striked out, like you're
bad. Okay, you're not gonna hit a home run. Fuck me. You know what I mean. I don't fucking
know. A strike. Know. 1, 2, 3 strikes. You're out at the O.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
So you don't want to strike. You want to strike in bowling, not in baseball. Well, you're not going to hit all the pins down in your first time.
You have to keep coming up to the blind multiple times. You got to keep waiting for your ball to come through.
Oh my gosh, it's so bad.
I should have just stuck with something I know. Fucking bowling, baseball. Anyway, you have to put yourself out there over and over again. You're not going to meet your husband the first time that you put yourself out there. I know that. So I have to continue to do these things and learn from them as I've been doing, but I have to continue to do that, which is why I want to continue on with the challenge, even though it's not November.
Yeah.
Some of my, like, favorite ones that I like to do, and... well, okay, no. Some of my favorite ones that I like to do are, like... when I'm feeling it, is put myself out there in, like, the outdoor setting, like going on hikes or at the dog beach or dog park or something like that. And I like to do that because last time when I first moved to San Diego, that's how I actually got my first job here. Is I was talking with someone it was a girl, of course, because it's just so much easier to talk to fucking girls. And I was telling her about how I needed a job, and she was like, do you have any restaurant experience? Anyway, I started working at the restaurant that she worked at because we had this conversation. I put myself out there at the dog park. So I think it's a little easier for me to do that in those settings, like be bold in those settings. It's just, I think because I so easily get in my head, I feel like very hard on myself to be the first person that like crosses that line. I think it's a little easier for me to have a conversation, especially if there's a buffer like the dogs being there, or you're out in the wild, like, you know, you're on a hike. It's kind of easy to say hi as you're passing someone, or like comment on like their, I don't know, hiking boots or something like that. Like, it's just
sick boots.
It's a little easier. I think it is more difficult to like cross that line into like, okay, are we just being friendly, or should I just like be bold and ask for your number, or, like ask what you're doing? And even though I had these conversations or like smiled people at a hike, or even at the dog beach in Coronado, it's like these people are so nice and are willing to have a conversation because our like dogs are playing or whatever, but it's just really difficult to just like jump into the unknown and say like,
yeah,
am I just feeling this, or am I like, even me, I'm like, in this moment, it takes me a second to be like, am I interested in you, or am I only interested in like seeing if I can be bold and take this step into like asking? And again, like, I think that's where that gut feeling comes into. So even though I didn't ask for anybody's number while out on the dog beach, like I did really try to make it a point to talk to at least someone there.
That's good.
Yeah.
Was it like striking up conversation about the dogs usually?
It was, yeah. It was like, you know, where the water station is where you can like rinse them off. It's like, again, like I know that I'm not a I'm a people person. Like it's easy for me to spark up a conversation if I'm in the mood for it. And so I just have to find like an opening of conversation, and that's where I can like take it. I also have it in my head, especially while doing this challenge, which again is my own fucking fault, but I still can't shake it. And there's got to be people out there that think the way that I do, is like, I want the man to talk to me. Like I want them to take the step.
Yeah.
And it's like, I know I should shift my thinking, and I know that that's not always the case, especially as I've learned with this whole challenge. Is like, I want to be the person that puts myself out there and has the confidence to not give a fuck and have a conversation with someone, regardless of how it might make me seem or how I might feel after, even if nothing comes of it. But like, fuck. So like in the moment, it's like, yeah, you're really cute, but also like, I've just given you all your ammunition. Okay, I'm not going to do the metaphors. I've talked to you. It's your time. It's like your turn to see, like, are you feeling it too? Like, you need to ask me. I know, Erica, but I know I need to let it go, but I can't.
I think it would be awesome.
I know.
That would be really awesome. But the more dates I've been on, the more I've like put myself out there, I feel like you really have to make it known that you're interested and available and want to talk to them.
Yeah.
And then if you're doing all the work after that, yes, but I feel like it's not just like, oh, I smiled at you and now you need to ask for my number. It's like, I think of my last relationship. I went up to him first. I played dumb, and then we had a conversation. I messaged him on Instagram first and started the conversation. And then he like invited me out and we did things. It's like, I made multiple attempts to show that like, hey, I'm interested. Let's talk. I'm funny, whatever, you know? And I feel like I
know. It's not, I honestly think it's because I have this, like, I've romanticized my life and how I want to like see this person, and sometimes not in a good way, of just like, it's like a movie. It's going to be this person that comes up and has this conversation. And like, I've lived 27 years of life and never once has that happened. Why do I think tomorrow it's going to change?
I don't think you should think that will never happen, but I feel like
waiting for
being a little bit realistic of like, okay, I would love for this to happen, and I'm going to put myself in situations where it could, while also like making myself known that I'm interested or whatever.
I know.
You know?
It's just because I'm such a like bitch and I have such a resting bitch face that I'm like, if me smiling, that's your invitation. That's the most.
That means come talk to me.
Yeah, that means come talk, because if I didn't, you would know. So I think it's just, I've learned a lot just about how like different I am than how I was even a few years ago, and how like dating and the world just kind of shifts a little bit when you're in different phases of your life. And when it comes to dating, like I have lived and learned all of these things up until this point, and the single person, like my male equivalent that I'm interested in, has also done all of these things. Like I just have to take that into consideration and learn and grow from it, instead of, you know, having this having this mindset like I did in the past of like, oh, everything, like it's not good enough or it won't work or anything like this. Is just like, if the situation wasn't gonna, if nothing was gonna come of it, then it wasn't meant to be. That door isn't supposed to be open. Instead of walking away from every social situation being like, oh man, nothing came of it. Like, do you see what I'm saying? Like just shifting it into being like, put yourself out there, be as bold as you can be, and step out of your comfort zone while still feeling like as confident as you can, even if that means like pulling a what's Sasha Fierce, Beyonce's alter ego, even if you have to think of an alter ego to get you through it. Like if that even walks away without anything coming of it, like then that door isn't meant for you, that path isn't meant for you.
I also think, like, I would hope that the guy that I talk to or like I'm interested in going on a date on is gonna want to like treat me, you know, like buy me dinner or something.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's only fair, not that we're like having a scale or something, but for me to like put in a little effort, because that's free. For me to go and talk to you and ask for your number or whatever, and then you ask me out on a date and you buy me dinner and show that you're interested. Like, I don't think you can expect them to do 90% while you do 10 type thing.
Yeah.
And no relationship is ever going to be 50-50. But I think the older we get too, like the dating pool gets thinner. Yeah. Not that we have not a lot of options. Like there's a ton of people here and there's a lot to filter through. But I also feel like the good ones are hard to come by. Yeah. So like, you have to make yourself known that you're interested and available. Is my 2 cents.
Yes, I agree. It's just hard.
But there's other ones on here. There's some, I'm going to volunteer soon. I'm excited to go help some seniors.
Your senior citizens.
My senior citizens. I had a breakdown. I came into Ellie's room. And
full on tears about old people. And I was like, I don't know how to help. Because I was like, ew. You're like, I need to work with
I'm like, people. They're just so sad and alone during the holidays, and I have to help them. So that'll be my volunteering. There's other things on there that I want to check off. I do want to put my number in, like, records. I just need to come up with a catchy poem.
Yeah.
But I think this is something that is, like, once you get the ball rolling, like, even when we were out the other night, it's like, be bold. Like, go try it. And now it's, like, this thing that we've lived. And, like, even though it's not necessarily a habit yet, I think you kind of know what it feels like. And you know how you can, like, fake that confidence and feel good after. And so it's just, like, a good reminder. And you can start this whenever.
Yeah.
I would recommend.
Absolutely. I would, too. I also think this was helpful because I'm very, like, I'm a competitive person. And so for me, it was, like, an actual tangible thing of things that I can think of. Because even though it was, like, all things I know, like I know I can go to a coffee shop or go on a hike and meet people. Like I know that. But to see it in like a physical form of just like a fun game makes it even more fun and makes me want to go do these things more than, you know, I would without it.
Yeah. And if you have other single friends, you can do it together. Because I will say it was nice to be like, hey, do you want to go to the running club or something?
Yes.
Like to have, not all of these can be done with another person, but I think it's good to like, there's, what is the phrase? Something in numbers? Strength in numbers?
Yeah.
Strength in numbers.
Strength in numbers.
Speaking of numbers, please go leave us a review and subscribe and follow and all the things so we can grow, because there's a lot of podcasts in the world, but we think we're pretty good and we would like to be on the charts. And And we appreciate all our OG listeners for sticking by.
Yeah, and getting their, some of them had us as their #1 podcast for the Spotify Wrapped.
That was so nice to see us on the Wrapped. We love you guys. Polite as fuck wherever you get your podcasts. See you next week.